welcome to this Gemini update. We've got a few interesting updates this month. So the main Gemini model has been upgraded from Gemini 3 to Gemini 3.1. So we now got 3.1 Pro and 3.1 Flash. Pro being the kind of more thinking model, and Flash being the one where you go for faster answers and more complicated problems. And that has led to updates in some of the other tools. So we'll have a look at those things now. So we now have Nano Banana 2. So if you come to gemini.google.com and click on create image, you'll now see these examples here that you can use to help you with your prompts. So you can click on one of these and do it in that style if you want to, or you can write your own prompts in there as well. So a little while ago we got Nano Banana Pro, and now we have Nano Banana 2. The real difference here is speed. So it does about the same quality images as Nano Banana Pro, but it does them in about half the time. So it's also better at keeping track of things between images as well. So if you're creating multiple images around the same topic, it can now track up to 5 people and 14 items whilst it's generating those multiple images. So you can keep things consistent as you are creating more images. So let's have a look at an example at that. I've come to Gemini, I've given it the Sutton logo here, and I said, can you create a photo of a highways inspector working for the London Borough of Sutton? They're wearing a high-vis jacket with the Sutton logo on. Make sure to use the logo that I've attached, and they're inspecting a pothole. Can you give me 4 different options of images to work with? So you can see I've got 4 different images here. I've got different people in the scenes. They look quite realistic. So I said, let's take the inspector from the second image and create a new photo of her in the office, typing up her inspections on a Chromebook. So it's then created this image for me. So you can see it's the same person. It looks quite convincing, and the background's quite interesting. You've got things about the dates here. You've got a map of Sutton here. So it's filled in a lot of that context in the background for me. And then I said, now can you create a photo of her getting Officer of the Year award at an award ceremony from the Mayor? And it's created this photo. So we've got the same person, different context, receiving an award from the Mayor. But it looks a bit odd that she's still in her high-vis jacket. So I then said, can you put her in suitable clothes for an award ceremony? And it's created this image here. So you can see it's tracked that person, a completely made up person, and it tracked them through all of those images and understood my prompts and created suitable images. So try that out for yourself. So another new feature that we have now is in notebookLM. So for a while we've been able to create slideshows in notebookLM, which people have found really helpful. But when it creates that slideshow, those slides are kind of stuck as they are. So now you've got the ability to go in and re-prompt for some of those slides. So I'll show you how that looks like. So I've created a notebook here. I put into it the video from my January Gemini update just as something to work on, and it's created this slideshow here. So you can see the slides look really good, and it's really understood the points I was trying to get across. So if you come to like this section here, I don't know if you remember, where I had a person riding a bike and I re-prompted it to change the image and change their coat and the tarmac they were riding on. It's created images here to try and explain that point that I was trying to explain, and I think it's done a really good job here. So the update here is that you can now come in and you can edit these slides. So if you have something that it's generated that you don't like, you can come in and re-prompt that slide. So I could come in here and click on this slide, click revise, and I could type in make the background green, something like that. So I'm making a prompt there, and you can do that on multiple slides at the same time. So you can go through, change put in prompts about the things you want to change on each slide, and then generate that whole deck again. Okay, so it's now done that update. So I come back to this slideshow here, you can see everything else is the same, but if I come to that slide 8 there, it's made that background green. So you can go in and change those, regenerate them, and then hopefully you'll get to a slideshow that you're happy with. Another new feature is that you now have the option to download those slideshows. So if I come to the 3 dots at the right hand side of here, I can then download it as a PDF or a PowerPoint. And if you download it as a PowerPoint, you can then open that PowerPoint file in Google Slides. So if I do that, you can see I've now got my presentation in Google Slides, and I can do things like add speaker notes, stuff like that. In terms of editing the slides, it is still like a big flat image, so I can't really do much with that, but I can re-prompt Gemini from within Google Slides, or you've got the Nano Banana button here. So you can ask it to beautify it and regenerate those slides from in here as well if you want to. Interestingly, Google seems to work by having competing teams working on similar things with each other. So you can also create slideshows in Gemini as well. So to show you the difference, I went to the Gemini app, I went into canvas mode, and I gave it that same video and asked it to create a slideshow about that video in here, and it's done the same thing here. So it's created a slideshow for me, but you can see the notebookLM one is much more impressive. This is quite basic here. It's put images in as well, but strangely it's not generated those images, so it seems to have taken images from the internet and put them into the presentation. So where the part of that thing where I was talking about changing the person's coat and things on the bicycle, it's just put a picture of a bicycle in here. So I think the idea is that you can then go in and put in your own images and make it a bit more personal. But at the end of the presentation, it does give you a list of sources here of where it used those images from as well, so you can check if you can use those images. So a different way of doing things. So the difference here is that you can then also export this one to slides. So I can export this slideshow to Google Slides with this button here, and then the slideshow that it creates in Google Slides is editable. So this is an actual Google Slides slideshow, so I can come in here and I can change the text and I can move things around if I want to. So yeah, see what works the best for you. Another new feature, not sure how useful this will be for most people in work, but you can now create music in Gemini as well. So on the main Gemini app, I can click the Create Music button. It gives me some examples here, again similar to the Nano Banana screen. So I can choose a style of music, and then I can describe my track in here, and it will create that song for me. I'll let you play around with that on your own if you want to, but you can have some fun in there. So maybe you can use it for creating some background music for a video that you're making or something like that. So that could be useful. But at the moment it's limited to 30-second long songs, but very soon you'll have access to creating longer 3-minute songs, I think, as well. So have fun with that. And now the last new feature is in Google Meet. So we now have live translation within Google Meet. So this is quite an interesting feature. So it means that you can talk in your language, and someone who speaks another language can hear it in their own language, and then they can speak in their language and you can hear it in your language, which is really, really useful. So quite hard for me to demonstrate on this video, so here's a video from Google showing how it works.
Hi, Camilla. Let me turn on speech translation. It's nice to finally talk to you.
Es bueno hablarte finalmente. No puedo esperar a alquilar tu casa.
Te vas a divertir mucho y creo que te va a encantar. You're going to have a lot of fun, and I think you're going to love visiting the city. The house is in a very nice neighborhood and overlooks the mountains.
That sounds wonderful. Is the house
Eso suena
close to public
maravilloso.
transportation,
¿Es la
or
casa
would you
cercana al
recommend
transporte
renting a car?
público o recomiendas alquilar un coche?
Hay un autobús cerca, pero there's a bus nearby, but I would recommend renting a car so you can visit the nature and enjoy it.
That sounds great.
Eso suena genial.
Just to show you where to get to that feature, if you're in a meeting, you can come to the 9 dots over here, and in the tools section you can do speech translation here. So you can choose the language that you're translating between and turn that translation on. And that's everything for this month's Gemini update. Thank you. Bye bye.